Your ability to focus is a strictly finite resource, and the way you are currently working is actively draining it away. Most of us spend our days in shallow work, logistical, non-cognitively demanding tasks like answering emails or attending status meetings that consume the modern workday. Because most knowledge work lacks clear, measurable goals, we fall into a trap known as the metric black hole. In the absence of an objective way to measure our actual value, we use visible busyness as a proxy for productivity. That deep exhaustion you feel at the end of a long workday doesn't prove you produced anything valuable. It merely confirms you were constantly in motion. This chart shows the bimodal trajectory of the modern labor market, a shift economists call the Great Restructuring. Intelligent machines and global networks are hollowing out the middle, creating a sharp divide between highly rewarded winners and everyone else. If your primary skill involves jumping between easily replicable puddles of logistical tasks, you are positioning yourself on the losing side of this divide. The antidote is deep work, professional activity performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that pushes your cognitive capabilities to their absolute limit. Nate Silver used this skill to parse massive databases and run complex simulations, extracting immense value from systems most people find impenetrable. Cultivating this level of concentration is the essential economic barrier protecting your career from being automated or outsourced. Producing at an elite level comes down to a strict mathematical law. High-quality work equals time spent multiplied by the intensity of focus. Because these variables multiply, turning up your concentration intensity is the only reliable way to reduce time without dropping quality. But there is a specific psychological glitch that destroys this equation: attention residue, a concept identified by business professor Sophie Leroy. When you switch your attention from task A to task B, your brain cannot cleanly sever the tie. A portion of your attention remains stuck on the original task, actively draining your cognitive capacity for the new one. This makes even a quick glance at your inbox a catastrophic failure of the productivity equation. That unresolved switch slaughters your brain in residue, permanently throttling processing power for the primary task. This performance boost is deeply biological. Upgrading your cognitive abilities relies on a process called myelination, where brain circuits wrap in tissue to fire faster. To trigger this physical upgrade, you have to successfully isolate the exact neural circuits you want to strengthen, and you can only isolate them through intense, uninterrupted focus. Consider Jason Ben. He used extreme isolation to neurologically rewire himself from a spreadsheet drone to a top-tier software developer in just 2 months. Mastering complex 21st century skills requires physically altering your brain's circuitry through sustained periods of absolute depth. The problem is that the modern corporate environment is actively hostile to this biological engine. Open floor plans and constant connectivity are optimized for serendipitous shallowness, not intense concentration. They are explicitly designed to fragment your attention. Because your environment will continually try to break your focus, you must become the ruthless architect of your own concentration. The first defense is to strictly identify the low-value tasks dragging you down. Apply the recent college grad test. If a smart 22-year-old could learn to do a task in a few months, it is shallow work and it needs to be isolated. Next, abandon autopilot and schedule every minute of your day. Pre-planning your time blocks removes the friction of having to choose when to focus. Finally, deploy the Roosevelt Dash. Give yourself intense, artificially tight deadlines for major projects to physically force your brain past the initial discomfort of extreme concentration. These tactics serve as structural defenses for your cognitive capabilities, neutralizing an environment built to fragment your attention. The ability to perform deep work is the undisputed superpower of the 21st century. In an economy addicted to distraction, the future belongs exclusively to the few who can still go deep.